Joined by Marc Stein of All City and DLLS, our ultimate insider. And Mark, December 15th, it's approaching. In Denver, we call that Yokmas, the anniversary of when Michael Malone finally put Nikola Jokic in the starting lineup, and the rest is history years ago. But around the league, it's the unofficial start of trade season when, teams are getting really active. And one of the first big rumors we've gotten, Jimmy Butler might be available. Is he on the block? Does he just want a contract extension? Bunch of different reports out there. How do you view it? Do you think there's a chance that, Jimmy Butler could actually be available? Is there any possibility that he could be, one of, if not the biggest name that might be on the move before the deadline?
Yeah, like on the block is a difficult description, but his contractual situation, the Heat basically said, we're not going to meet your desires on a contract extension. And the response from Jimmy Butler has been, okay, that's fine. I'm going to play this season out. But he has a player option for next season. And by all indications, he's prepared to bypass that player option, which means go to free agency, which means theoretically the Heat are at risk for losing him without compensation. And I want to stress theoretically because there are not exactly a bunch of teams out there with zillions and zillions of dollars in cap space next summer. Even Brooklyn can't create max cap space. But look, it's a threat that the Heat have to take seriously. And when I talk to people around the league, Jimmy Butler's future is, it is not just a topic this week. It's a topic in front offices all over the league. And Jimmy Butler, Brandon Ingram, Zach LaVine, these are three really good players who are kind of, they're all in play to some degree, but it's also difficult to actually complete a trade for any of those guys because we're in a double tax apron world now, and it's just not so simple. But I think this is something we're going to be talking about through the deadline. And next week is the G League Showcase in Orlando. It's not exactly like baseball's winter meetings, but it's the closest thing we have in the NBA. And something tells me that Jimmy Butler will be a popular topic of conversation in Central Florida.
Yeah, I could see it. And, like you mentioned, it's going to be tough for contenders to acquire him just because of the financial implications. And I mean, the Nuggets, they're not one of the prominent teams that have been mentioned with him. You got Houston and Golden State. Those two have been popular picks for a potential landing spot. I don't even know how possible it is for the Nuggets to make the books work and even complete that deal if they were interested. From your position, I mean, do you think the Nuggets would have any interest there? Do you think they might inquire at all? Or do you think the Nuggets just kind of want to ride this thing out with the group they've got?
Well, I would say it like this, because I don't like to guess about a team's desires and intentions when I don't know. I would if I was Denver. I think they should. I mean, I am a huge Jimmy Butler fan. I mean, the guy is just a flat out winner. And you look at what's happened in Miami in his 5 years there. They made the finals twice. They were basically a shot away another time. Okay, they didn't win a championship in that span, but the Jimmy Butler-led Heat have done a lot of damage in the Eastern Conference. They've been a foil for the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, the prospect of Jimmy, again, this is all hypothetical, but just imagining Jimmy, a player of his smarts and two-way ability with Mr. Jokic, okay, Jimmy Butler is not a floor spacer, but he does everything else at a very high level. And something tells me IQ-wise, those guys would like playing together. I mean, realistically,
he's a winner too.
Could the only way to even think about it or talk about it, I think Michael Porter Jr. would have to interest Miami. But again, these are all hypotheticals at this point. I mean, you live with this team every day. Would you want to see it? I'm more curious kind of to hear what you think.
I'm torn, to be honest. the shooting has been, one of the key talking points around this team all season. Last in the league in 3-point attempts. I don't know what it would look like if you swap out your best 3-point shooter by far for a guy in Jimmy Butler who, he can make threes when they matter at times, but he's not a guy who really stretches the defense a ton. So that'd be my concern. But on the other side of it, it's like Jimmy Butler's a winner. He's an absolute dog. Defensively, you've got him with Aaron Gordon, Christian Brown, Peyton Watson. That feels like more than enough defenders to get where you want to go. And I think he'd absolutely jive and mesh on court and off with Nikola Jokic. I feel like their personalities would really mesh, and that'd be a nice match as well. So I'm torn, to be honest. But if the Nuggets feel like they don't have the squad to do it right now, they've got to do something, I would think.
Well, look, everything I've heard about them is, it's even been painted to me as eager. They are eager to make a move. The reality is, if they don't involve Porter, their options, the optionality there is extremely limited. And the only way really they can make an impact move, I think, to bring in a real impact player, it would have to involve Porter. And, I don't know that Porter, what's his contract number? 38, in that range, I believe. Doing it off the top.
Yeah.
Is he playing at a $38 million player level right now? I'm not sure what kind of market he would command at this point, and then you factor in his injury history as well. So I think the Nuggets definitely want to do something. They know they need a shake-up move of some sort. I mean, Jokic is playing the best basketball we've maybe ever seen from him, which is a crazy statement to make, but the numbers make you think that. Again, I'm not there in the mile high, but when the numbers cross my desk, I mean, I just like the guy is just doing ridiculous things even by his standards. And it seems like the rest of the team has taken 2 steps back. And, I've talked about this with Adam Matas a few times already since joining All City. I don't think we're ever going to get it. I would love to hear the man's unvarnished thought. What does he think? I feel like the Nuggets are so lucky to not just have the superstar they have, but by all appearances, he does not apply pressure to them to make these shake-up moves. Or, I mean, he gave the one-on-one to my former ESPN teammate Ramona Shelburne earlier this year and basically said that he's happy and that he's not greedy and he's happy to have won the one championship he won. And I'm sure there are front offices around this league reading those quotes going, man, is this guy for real? Not only is his basketball from another planet, but he seems to be okay with where the Nuggets are this season, which, again, I'm 1,000-ish miles away. I mean, they've been pretty disappointing from where I'm sitting. So
yeah,
I really find the whole thing fascinating. And, yeah, you're there every day living it. You tell me.
Yeah. I mean, I saw those quotes to Ramona a while back, but the interesting thing is it kind of feels like in Denver, Jokic has been applying a little pressure here and there with some of his post-game quotes more recently. He's talked about how in his country, when people aren't playing up to par, sometimes, their paychecks are a little less. Just somehow. He's talked about how, some guys might need to get benched. So I feel like he is growing his voice in that way. And then, you look back to the summer, he wanted Russell Westbrook in Denver. He had been on that the last couple summers, and the Nuggets this year brought Russell Westbrook in. So I feel like little by little, he might be, putting his foot down and kind of applying a little pressure. I get the sense here, just from being around him and being around the team, that he's frustrated right now. Like, he's frustrated and a little ticked off by the level his teammates are playing at and just how things have not really come together. But that's the impression I get locally. He's frustrated for sure.
He should be.
Yeah.
He should. I mean, they've lost two major players back-to-back summers with no compensation. And, the KCP situation, the initial word was, Dallas was interested in a sign and trade. The initial word was Denver was not going to participate in that. And, I reported this a few days ago that, then there was some 11th hour, you know what, maybe we better look into our sign and trade options because we don't want to lose KCP for nothing. But by then it was too late. Orlando had already emerged as a team prepared to offer the kind of contract KCP wanted, and they lost him. And I saw the quotes you've referred to. I mean, I think that's pretty mild stuff. I mean, if that's an angry Nikola Jokic, the Nuggets, again, they are very, very, very lucky to me because I don't feel like, I'm sure he's frustrated and he should be frustrated, but we've seen frustration lashed out in much louder fashion in this league.
Oh, from superstars, absolutely. Absolutely. What's kind of the word like around the league about Denver right now? Because locally it's been the narratives of, and we've hit on this a little bit, Nikola Jokic has no help. The on-off numbers when he's on the court versus off the court, the bench, and the lack of shooting has been kind of the other one. Jamal Murray's underwhelming play as well, but what's kind of the narrative around the Nuggets, around the league from the people you talk to?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are really curious and fascinated by what are they going to do to address it. Again, the rumbles are out there that they want to do something. I do think they will make some kind of move between now and the trade deadline on February 6th. The question is going to be, how significant is it? Can they make any kind of move that really changes the balance of the team? Because at this point, an otherworldly Nikola Jokic is just, they're just way too close to five. Like, with Jokic is such a good player that my thinking always was it didn't even matter who players 2 through 15 or 2 through 18 on the roster are. This is a 50-win team just because of him.
Yeah.
He is playing that well. They're not on a 50-win pace, not even close. So, they got to fix it, and they got to do something. And just the question will be, can they, with limited resources, they're pretty much out of first round picks. They just don't have a lot of trade optionality. Can they do something to freshen things up, so to speak? And if not, the bounce back's going to have to start with Jamal Murray looking like the Jamal Murray we saw in the 2023 finals, and they're going to need more from Porter, and they're going to need all these young guys to be more consistent. I mean, Brown's actually done, what they would have hoped, but he's not coming off the bench anymore. He's filling the KCP void, and there's not enough behind him. So they are like I keep saying the word fascinating. I mean, they are high on the list of most interesting teams in the NBA right now.
That's interesting. Well, the good thing with Jokic is he's probably not going to miss time for a birth of another child this season. So he hopefully, knock on wood, will be in the lineup more consistently. Mark, I appreciate it filling us in about, what the word around the league is with the Nuggets as December 15th is approaching. I can't wait to see what happens. You mentioned the word is fascinating with the Nuggets. I'm also fascinated about what they might do. It should be an interesting next couple months.
It will indeed. This is not the last time we will be talking about the Nuggets and trade possibilities, I promise.
Definitely not. Definitely not. Thanks, Mark.
You got it.